Jessica, thank you so much for coming on the show. Really looking forward to chatting. For people who have no idea who you are, can you tell them a bit about yourself and kind of where you are?
Yeah, I work for a local home builder in Utah, Edge Homes, and I have been at the company since 2018. I work in marketing, so I run all of the marketing for the company. I'm the VP of marketing, and it's been a really fun ride. We have over 150 employees for the company, and we're one of the largest home builders in Utah. So it's been really fun to grow with them. Yeah, that's just a quick little bit about me.
Amazing. And the kind of home building market is, I'm kind of learning more about it, and it's fascinating because in some ways it's so archaic, but then also it's so ripe for change. So I'd be super interested to hear from you guys, like what you've been there quite a while, like what you've seen since you've been there, and now how you're thinking about bringing maybe some new innovation to us, as you mentioned, archaic industry.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that are archaic when you think about it. I mean, we're talking about AI and all of these amazing technologies that we're able to use, but we're still boots on the ground, putting signs in the dirt, physically out there with balloons to let people know that we're open. And it's not to say that those things aren't working, because they're very effective. We're adding on to it with these other tools, which I think is really interesting to see the differences there. And then you've got a lot of old school people that have been doing construction for years that are a little bit harder to change their mindsets, especially if they're doing construction. It's really fun when you have a construction manager and you're like, "Hi, will you be in a social media video for us?" And they're like, "No, absolutely not." So I think that is probably one of the more fun things. I think is a really cool tool for buyers as well as even just our sales team. Like I said, we're one of the largest home builders in Utah. And I think something that's really fun is the innovations that we have to help them with their job of, rather than let me get back to you with the homes that would fit in your price point, they're able to use those tools to help narrow it down and help a buyer a little bit better. So I think that's just another cool little thing.
And I love the kind of, the balloons that you mentioned, the stuff that at the end of the day, you guys are actually, you're in Utah building the homes in the ground. Could you just give us some kind of examples of, like, what are the stuff which you think you will keep continuing to do, even with all this technological progress and stuff going on? Because I think it's funny, this conversation I was having with one of my colleagues this morning is, now it's really difficult because you kind of have to go, okay, what are the stuff we're actually automating and what are the stuff we're not? And that, spending a lot of time thinking of that is actually really hard, because I think you can come into a bit of this AI psychosis where you automate loads of things, but then actually, maybe the personal touch isn't there for certain stuff, or, you're not getting you're automating the thing, but you're not getting the actual output that you want. So I'm interested to hear from you guys, like, how do you divide that line of, okay, we're the biggest home builder in Utah, there are some stuff which we will keep that human side, and then other stuff which we won't?
Yeah. It's a really challenging conversation, I think, to have, because some people have a really negative association with AI of, like, you're just making really crappy work quickly, especially when it comes to graphic design or flyers, which I think there's elements to it of you can use it as a drafting tool. But when it comes down to it, I think there's a lot of emotion when buying a home. It's the largest purchase that a lot of people will ever make. And I don't think AI is ever going to be able to replace physically walking your lot or the home that you're going to buy. You can look at as many photos as you want to, or talk about pricing and can I afford this? But the emotional aspect, I think, is the piece that you have to have that separation. So yes, narrowing down what's the difference between these floor plans, pricing, that kind of thing. I think AI is excellent. Love it. As far as things that we want to keep, we will probably never get away from signage, ever. Because we still have people that live in an area that are going to drive by a neighborhood and see our sign and go, "Oh, I didn't know they were out here." So that's probably the biggest thing that I think we will stick with. I mean, direct mail pieces, I'm not going to lie, I check my mail once a month because I don't ever get anything that's useful for me. And I think that shows with some of those pieces of marketing. Magazines have kind of died off, but physical signs in the ground directing people to where we are, I think, is one that we will never go away from.
And how effective are those? Because I'm super interested to kind of know, sometimes the attribution is difficult, but I feel like it's one of those things where sometimes people don't really know, and maybe that is part of it, but would love to know how you guys measure the effectiveness and how you think about how much to invest in signage.
Yeah, signs, obviously they're expensive when you have a ton of communities and it's getting knocked over by trucks. It's a very expensive purchase. So I agree with you that it's sometimes hard to attribute that, like, awareness campaign. But one thing that's been really cool is we have strategically placed signs in our communities that show a QR code that links to our quick move-in inventory, which is a home that's built and standing and ready to be moved into. And at first we're kind of like, let's try it out, see how it does. We've had tons of scans on this, tons.
How many roughly, just for us to have a rough
we
scale?
put them in, and within a month we had over 300 scans
on
it, which is pretty big considering we only had like 4 communities.
Yeah.
Which, you think about, phone calls, obviously that's a really big source of lead traffic for us. Like we want to make our sales agent's phone ring. Like let's get signs, we call them hangman signs, but the ones that go in front of a home that have a number like this home is available, buy it now. But the QR code signs, you'd think, hey, do people really scan QR codes? It's kind of the like iffy. I think if it's relevant, people are going to scan it. And it has to be the right content.
And just for those, because I think it's really interesting, you had 300 scans. So those signs, are they on the side of the road, or whereabouts do you place them in the community?
Close to our model homes. So usually we have a model home that has a sales center, but if people are driving with a sales agent on a weekend and no one's open, they can scan a QR code and see what inventory is available. So I think that's been the biggest tool.
Do you think people they're driving, stopping their car and scanning it? Interesting. Because that's like something that I would never kind of expect. Do you know what I mean? People to kind of, that's seriously interesting. And so that leads us on to more your kind of like marketing mix and how you kind of spend your budget. I think I love asking these questions to marketers because it's so drastically different with each sector. Some people go, you know what, billboards, we don't even care about that. Other people go paid media. This is like 80% of what we do. So kind of imagine that you're kind of reporting to your CEO. Like, what is the breakdown of your different like marketing channels? Like, what spend goes where for us to understand?
Yeah, I would say signage is about 15% of our budget, which is pretty big if you think about it. And that's not including billboards. So that's just community branding and making sure that people that are in that area know where we are. And then obviously digital is a big piece for us. That includes Meta, Google, our website, because that's where people are searching. We're a long-term consideration product. We got to make sure that we have landing pages, community pages that incubate those leads. Events, that's another one that probably is a little bit unique to our industry.
Tell us more about that.
Yeah, open houses. So we do open houses. I love the difference between new construction and existing, or used, as I like to call it. So used real estate agents, if they get a house, they're going to do an open house for it. So they're going to have the cookies on the table and they're going to blast out email to their buyers or anybody in the industry to say, hey, come tour this house that's on the market. So open houses and big community events. They're still effective for us, but I think over the years, events have kind of evolved. We used to do big community events, like probably 4 times a year. We'd have like Easter egg hunts and give backs to all of our old communities where we'd spend like pumpkins, like massive events. Give back to the residents that we build for. And it's interesting to see who shows up and kind of like the benefits of those. So anyway, community give back events and then open houses. So it's funny, the old real estate agents still want to come walk through an open house of a model home or quick move-ins.
And I think it's also interesting where especially, people want to touch and feel the actual physical thing. You don't want to just, you can see a floor plan or see a YouTube video, but actually to be there in real life is super, super important. And so signage wise, it kind of makes sense. If people are in the area, they start to hear about you, they either call, and then the open houses, that makes sense as well. And then for the media side, could you talk us through like the breakdown of, search? Because I think one of the things we spoke about, which is kind of working well for you guys, is like GEO and AEO, and people finding houses in a whole new way. So maybe that'd be a good one to start with.
Yeah. So SEO is not dead for us. I still think that there's obviously efforts that we have with that. We want people to click on our website and rank, but AEO is definitely one of the bigger areas that we've been focusing our marketing attention on. Just because, again, it's a long-term consideration product. And I don't know how anyone else is using chat, but it's a conversational tool of, can I afford this home? What financing options do I have? Who are the best home builders in Utah? What floor plan?
It's almost the perfect use case, isn't it?
It's exactly what you would start off using AI for. So having content that ranks and has us pull up, but not only just pull up, but pull up in the voice that we want it to is really important. So we've had to shift some of our mindsets from just what's on our website to what third parties are also saying about us, because that's where the conversations are pulling from when it comes to AI. So that's been a really interesting challenge. just with making sure that the voice that you want shared or is accurate is pulling through. So that's been interesting. And then you mentioned other channels. I mean, search, obviously we're competing with other home builders in the area. So we want to make sure that we're going to show up before another competitor, or even more so than that, existing homes. That's probably one of our largest competitors because we're not moving. It's a lot easier for someone to not move than it is for someone to move. So making sure that we're hitting them there.
Tell us more about that, because I think that's something which, is obvious once you say it, but it's not something that we're focused on. What campaigns are you running, or what things are you doing to make people move instead of not moving?
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, right now, if you're living in a 2-bedroom apartment and you're having your third kid, you're probably like, hey, I'd really like some more space. So hitting on, like, no one's moving because they're super stoked about the house that they're currently living in. They either have a new job that's pushing them to move, which you have to move, but there's also the people that are like, dude, I just did Christmas with my in-laws and I cannot spend another minute in this house having my mother-in-law that close to me. I need more space. I need an extra bedroom or the school districts. So I think that's probably like the bigger hitting items, which again, that's where I go to the emotional side of it. This is where human interaction, I think, comes into play. Of a sales agent that's a good sales agent is going to sit and talk to a person and be like, what is pushing you to move? Why are you leaving? Maybe it's like, I don't feel safe in this neighborhood anymore. Okay, then that's going to change what we're talking about when you're looking at a house, because you don't care about how many bedrooms are in this house if you're feeling unsafe. So that's the element of like, what is pushing this buyer to move? And then how we target that. I think price is probably the biggest one in Utah right now. A townhome right now is in the 500s, which it's one of the most expensive states in the country to buy in. I think there's only like 4 or 5 states that are more expensive than Utah, which is really surprising when you think about New York and California.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that at all.
Utah is one of the we have so many people that have moved to Utah, and it's a beautiful state with, I mean, obviously I love Utah. I'm biased, but there's so much natural beauty with the mountains and everything there. And it's a great economic place to be with jobs. So I think we had so many people during COVID that moved to Utah, but housing prices have just gone through the roof. So we have a really big problem with housing affordability and housing shortage. So obviously, I think the biggest thing
it's good for you guys as well.
Which is great, but also if you can't buy a house and you can't afford it, then there's no buyers. So it's kind of this piece of hitting that financial bit. We're less pushing yes, we have amazing amenities and what it feels like to live in this community. But if you don't think you can afford a home, we're dead. We're done. So the biggest conversation we've been pushing right now has been estimated payments. So working with financial institutions to combine our marketing efforts to say, hey, how can we make buying a home more affordable for a buyer? So us as a builder, we're able to buy rates with our preferred lender to say, let's buy a bulk amount at this rate that a buyer couldn't get. So we're competing with that existing housing. So you can't go buy an existing house at the same rate that a new construction home builder can offer it to you, which makes buying new more affordable than buying used right now, which is very interesting.
Yeah, no, it's so interesting. So you're effectively kind of bulk buying a group of 10 properties at a kind of wholesale price. And then off that, you're selling the individual plots to different, prospects in Utah.
We're buying a loan. So like a big chunk of money. So it's basically like we buy $1 million at this interest rate and however many people can buy a home through that. So it's risky, obviously, for a home builder to say, hey, we're going to buy this and sit on it. But it's better for the buyer to offer that, because we're able to get it at a cheaper rate. And
then in terms of, you guys get it at a cheaper rate, and then for the people in Utah who are going, actually, it's super expensive to buy a house right now. And then are you guys then is it like an education piece on paid and stuff to let them know, actually, we are doing this at a kind of wholesale price to benefit you? Like, how do you make sure that they know that you guys are doing that for them?
It's less about the education of like how it works and more of just getting someone to click. So right now, interest rates are 6.7, I believe. In Utah, or I guess federally, but we're pushing billboards. That's one area for us, is billboards of 1.99 interest rates. So anybody that's looking at a competitor, I feel like we're just playing the interest rate game right now with other builders, and they see 1.99 and go, is this too good to be true? So they click. So that's our main thing, of just get them in the funnel so they can talk to an agent and they can explain it. So as a marketing piece, I don't need to be long-winded of they just want to see the rate, how it affects them, and what their payment is. So any home that we have that qualifies for our 1.99 rate, we're showing that estimated payment. And the goal is to hopefully hit people where if they're renting, that's the same or cheaper than what my rent currently is.
Got you. No, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And So, okay, initially it's great. Let's kind of mark it on 199. But then I guess you get to a point where all, you can keep competing on interest rate, but then it's almost okay. It's like the short term versus the long term of like brand wise. So what are the things, and also for certain homes, you won't be able to do the 199. So how are you supporting the 199 maybe after they've clicked, or for those people that the 199 doesn't necessarily work for them to click through?
Yeah, I think this is where we're such an interesting builder in the sense that we target a broad range of buyers. We have first-time buyers that might be going into a condo or a townhome or even a single family. But we also have a market in Utah for people that maybe are priced out of those custom homes and still want to build and customize. So we have larger lot communities that maybe they're not, I don't know if you know Alpine, but the Alpine grandiose parade of homes, and buyers still want to come into our studio and design their home. So we have kind of just different ways that we're marketing to those people. Obviously, we're not going to be pushing, yes, 199 is appealing to them because they want the financing that helps them the most, but being able to customize and come into our award-winning design studio and just supplementing that information. So it just it's dependent on which homes we're pushing and the communities. So each community is just a little bit different with the product mix. But I would say still showing off, we have sexy houses. So showing that imagery and content that can get in front of them so that they're going, oh, maybe I can save a little bit and build with edge and not do a massive custom home, but I can still customize my house and have it be beautiful.
And also, I think something that, especially for the construction and home building industry, where there's so many things that you can change or customize that actually, and I think what previously worked in the marketing is you can kind of show this is what the general aesthetic of your house will look like. But now it's much easier for marketing teams to be very granular and show, you even build out custom landing pages where you can select each different color, how your bathroom's going to look, all these types of things, then almost generate a live view, in one kind of session versus, okay, here's a generic piece of like marketing material. And you can do this, with paid landing pages, a bunch of different things. So like, how are you almost doing, let's call it like max hyper-personalization for all these sexy houses that you just mentioned?
This is a very interesting thing. This is where I want to say there's limits to what you can do with the people that you're working with. So customizing a home, I think that the technology would be there that you could put every single design option that we have and put it into a software and have someone design their entire kitchen. The big thing is that it's not cost effective for us right now. So we still find it very cost effective to still have a buyer come in and physically choose those options. We're a semi-custom home builder, so we're not fully custom. So you pick a floor plan. We have over 50 floor plans, and within those you can pick whatever. But you can come in, select your design options. It would be awesome if we could have every selection be in there so that someone could design their home online. I think we're close, to be honest with you. Very, very close to having someone come through and select this price point and go through it. But this is again where I go to home building is a little archaic because even the software to manage our homes, I feel like we're so far behind and building what we need that works with each builder because each builder is so different. There's not just one platform that's open that you can just be like, yep, this works for every single builder. Each floor plan is different. And the other thing is it's very expensive if you make a mistake. So, and buyers care, like they genuinely care. So if the color on the screen looks a little lighter than what it looks like in person, you're hosed. So it's just a very interesting dynamic that way of people. We have people come into our studio that will take our paint chips out into the sunlight and see how it looks outside. There's so much variation. Look at picking a paint color for a house. Like each wall is going to be different. And then you add in the digital side of that. It sounds good in theory, but sometimes execution, it's just a little bit more of a challenge.
Yeah, no, I hear that. And I think that it's kind of knowing when you can use the personalization stuff and then also knowing that, most people are still going to want to touch and feel the paint and bring it outside, see it in the sun, all that kind of stuff. No, it makes a lot of sense. And you've been there just over 8 years. Like, what are the things I'm always interested to know? Like, what are some things which you thought would have really worked, like marketing campaign wise, but didn't really? Maybe let's start there and then we can go into some other things that you've learned over that 8 years.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that I think I've learned is that just because it's beautiful doesn't mean it's going to do what you want it to do. So social media, I think, is one of those that has been such a pain point for me where you go, we made this amazing video. We worked through the concepts. We got an actor. It's the most beautiful color graded video. and nobody cared. It did nothing, absolutely nothing. So, and it's funny because you then look at a stupid video that you filmed on your phone that's funny and stupid, and it performed better than the mass produced, beautiful concept that you thought was going to be amazing. So I think that's been my biggest learning curve, is just, it's got to work at the end of the day. It can't just look pretty. And then buyer demographics, I think, is another one, and how that's shifted. So back during 2020, we had the buyer frenzy of waiving inspections, and you were bidding and bidding and bidding to get into a house. And so obviously we were targeting buyers where it's like, don't use an agent, come just buy directly. And we were just hitting like a you or a me that's looking to buy a house. And I think a big shift is realtor relations. So we are targeting...
Tell us more about that.
An agent. So if you think about it, like you or I, we're going to buy a house. Maybe we'll up and buy another house with you in 3 years, maybe at the soonest, usually. But an agent is going to bring you deals over time. So fostering those relationships with outside agents that are going to bring you buyers and have them sell your brand. So basically brand ambassadors, but through outside agents that are helping someone else sell a house. There's very few people that are, like, most people aren't first-time home buyers that are renting that are going to just come buy a house. A lot of people have a home that they're either selling or they're moving from out of state and have other situations, and they're going to have an outside agent that's representing them. And I think when buyer confidence is low, especially when they're like, I'm not sure I can afford this, or how much is my house actually worth? Zillow told me it's worth $1 million. And you're like, no, it's actually not. Let's actually, there's that human element that I think needs to be pulled into it. So that's a big shift for us, is making sure that we have really good outside agent relationships and knowing who to target during different market changes, which is it's just different for our industry.
Yeah. And on that, kind of how responsible is marketing for that versus sales? Like because in my head, I kind of go, that feels like it's quite a sales thing. Do you know what I mean? Like what's the split there?
I like to think of marketing and sales as the oceans that touch, we're just overlapping in ways. I think it's funny because I feel like in a lot of different industries, marketing and sales sometimes feel like they're head to head, like they're fighting. I love our VP of sales. I think he's awesome, but it's really fun to kind of see where his brain is and where marketing's brain is. But we're hand in hand. We help with events for outside agents. That's another thing, networking and having big events for them. So I think you need to be aligned. It's just the oceans of marketing's providing the tools to our sales team of, this is a tool that you can use to go work with outside agents. Here is an event that you can bring them to. Here is the tools that you need. Like, marketing's over our model homes and making sure that they have a place of business to have people come through. So it's just I don't know how to answer that other than it's overlapped.
I think it's we find this as well at the moment, but I think that it's overlapping more and more as well, because people, generalists or people can do more, their skill sets are enhanced with the tools they can use. And actually, like, certain things where it used to be, marketing doesn't book a meeting, but it maybe can, like, it gives you a lead. But now more marketing teams are helping kind of do the end-to-end process of actually booking the meeting. So I think it's an interesting one. And actually, I think that often it's almost better to have less division, because at the end of the day, everyone wants the same goal, just to kind of grow the company, grow revenue. And if you are a generalist and you can learn an AI tool that can teach you, and you can now become, instead of needing to go into and speak to a data analyst, I can now vibe code my own thing, which means that I don't need to, do you know what I mean? So there's less of that kind of department silos, which I think is really, really good. And like within your team, like how do people feel? Because you mentioned there's like backlash against AI, but like, how do people feel about like AI within marketing? Because I think, especially marketing, it's one of the departments which I feel like has been affected last by AI in a way, because you had all these different coding agents, and then you had, which are specifically good for like software and math and science. And we've seen a lot of changes on the creative side as well, but I still think marketing feels like it is still maybe lagging behind a bit, and still people are often just using it for, follow-up emails and like quite basic stuff. So I'd love to hear your takes on maybe different AI proficiency across your team and what they think about it.
Yeah. I think there's some people that think AI is the coolest thing ever and want to implement it with everything that they possibly can. And then there's some that are very hesitant with it. A big thing that we have to consider is just personal information. Obviously, you don't want to just plug a buyer's financial information into AI. I think that's there's a lot of concerns with that. But a really interesting way that it's helped us, because we're a small team. We're a local home builder. We don't have, like, we have some agencies that we outsource stuff to, but a lot of what we're doing is in-house. So it's been really fun to have tools like Claude or things like that that help us customize our website so that we can perform better. So having like you said, it's a tool. So having that help us is great. I think it's a great drafting tool. And I'd love to have it connect more as we get into things. I know one thing that we've been working on is having it be, I know a lot of businesses do this, but the hub of their company. So it can share. I mean, we have 50 plus floor plans. So having someone come in and be like, hey, what's the difference between the Haley C and the Haley B floor plan?
Yeah, it's a nightmare. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And then right now we have over 400 quick move-in listings. So having our sales agents be able to use that as a tool and having marketing spearhead that of, let's get this in a place where our agents can quickly have information available for them at any given point is the biggest piece. And then I think top down. So having leadership, especially the owners of Edge, I know AI is a big thing for them right now. And it's slow moving because you have to have it across the company. It can't just be one department that's going rogue and using these tools and platforms. So it's interesting to see how slowly it takes things to get going.
And it's funny because I often find that it is a bit like it's almost a bit like a religious thing where you need kind of one big believer in a group to then suddenly start kind of like sharing small insights or learnings. Like you definitely find it where, you'll have someone who will go, oh, I've just built this really cool thing using one of these agents that is helping me. And then that creates like a ripple effect. So I think people who are intellectually curious in whatever department they are, as long as you can have those people in your team, like those then will filter ideas throughout. So yeah, but I do think you're true. Like it does start slow, and then it just builds momentum. And also back to your thing about social media, because I think it's so true. And I think that it's so. It kind of like defies like our common sense of, we think, oh my God, if we make this video look so sexy and so nice, it's going to really perform. But then actually if you look at, and I say this to a couple of friends, like if you look on your social media feed, like so many of the videos aren't polished. It's just like, Melanie's just got her iPhone out in Target and has just gone to 10 million views. And like that kind of stuff, especially now with so much AI slop, really performs and does well. And I was speaking to a roofing company the other day.
Very
we
cool.
were talking about how to make their content more social first, and instead of doing the kind of more corporate style or just filming in 4K how to film a roof, how to put a roof on, because it's not that interesting. It's kind of, let's do like roof fails or stuff like that, or kind of like, this is like a really 30-second snippet of like James, who is our roofing guy, talking to you about how to build a roof in an alleyway or something like that. Do you know what I mean? But would love your thoughts on like why you guys do like organic social or paid social, like how it works, then what you've learned and what you've changed as a result.
Yeah. Social media, so fun. I think
It's
your brand voice, I think that's the one that's really hard. We have evolved over the years. I mean, we've had a couple of social media managers come through, but we were victim to the corporate voice of wah, wah, wah. Here's this beautiful music soundtrack to like a tour of a home, and nobody cares. And then you look, I mean, you mentioned a roofer, but like I look at Brita, the water company that has hysterical videos on their page of like drawers of soup, like their fridge drawers. So it's like, you watch these other brands that take social media and have shifted to be a more humorous 100%. Platform, but also we're a home builder. So like we can be funny, but also no one really wants to feel like their financial institution.
Yeah, putting soup in their home or something.
Yes. Like there's certain lines to it. You're like, okay, how far is too far, and what can we joke about, and where are we as a brand? So I think those have been like the bigger high level conversations of like, who do you use in your videos? Like, who's your spokesperson? Is it all of our sales team? Is it one person? Is it the owner of the company? No, probably not, because they're never available to do video content. And then you have Joe from construction that's horrible on camera that takes you 5 hours to edit it.
No.
So I think the biggest thing that we've learned is outsourcing what we can. So obviously quick move-in homes, that's a huge piece for us of having physical imagery that we can show of those homes. So we can outsource someone to go get B-roll or photos of those, and then pushing communities. So stuff that people actually care about, which is usually location-based or homes, and then being strategic about what we're doing that's funny and humorous to get engagement. I would say social media is a big piece for it. We still get phone calls from social media. So people that will come to our page that maybe see a home and they're like, oh, I was looking at homes. Let me go take a look at this townhome and give Edge Homes a call. We also have a Spanish account. We have a lot of buyers that speak Spanish or agents that speak Spanish. So that's one that we've shifted over the last couple of years, is pushing content that's in another language, which is really challenging. I don't know if you can see me, but I am definitely not a Spanish speaker and I probably should not be editing Spanish content. So that has been an interesting challenge of creating content that engages with different communities and different types of buyers, but it's been really effective for us to still push that content and create engagement. Like you said, you can push a specific home, but once that home's sold, it's gone. So having a good long-standing brand that people trust and come back to and find interesting is kind of the big push there. Social media is such a
exactly.
It's such a frustrating game of what performs and what does not.
I think it's a brilliant point because it's like Mr. Beast a while back starting to do those different channels in different languages, and Spanish was obviously a massive one.
Yeah.
So the fact that you guys have done that, I think is really good. And I also think it just shows a level of care that you actually are listening and know what what your types of customers are like, which a lot of companies don't do. And for, you mentioned social, both your Spanish account and your regular account. Like, what are the types of examples of videos that you guys have done which really work?
Yeah. Honestly, the ones that surprise me, we're a local home builder. So we compete with obviously national home builders that have corporate marketing. So the one thing that's really fun about Edge is that we get to try a bunch of different things, which is what I love about my job. I can come up with an idea and just go do it. I don't have to really, I have one person that I report to. So it's nice to be like, hey, can I try this? Do you care?
Yeah,
no, great.
Exactly.
So we have pushed communities. So the day in the life a little bit, people want to see behind the curtain. And so it's really fun to go film our sales team walking the dirt and learning about the community. It's like nothing hard. We literally just show up with a camera and get talking points of what they actually said and put it together. And those have performed really well for us to be able to just show what we're doing as a company. Like, we care about the lots. We're going and learning about this community. Come check it out. Like, we're in Saratoga Springs. So those ones have done really, really well for us. Buyer stories, I love doing these videos, but we're able to go back after someone's lived in a home for a while and see how they've turned it into their own home. So people love to be able to see the white wall box become a home of like, this is what they turned it into, and just showing stories. People love a good story.
I think also just like especially that kind of stuff, it's like taking the kind of angle which, it's so easy to kind of show the product or give like a very corporate way. But I think what people actually care about is the human side, which is like the day in the life, and then also the story of the people who have bought the house. So I think both of those are brilliant. And the kind of other bit I want to focus on is, you've been there 8 years, but then also now I want to look more to the future. Like, what are the types of things at the moment which you are implementing, or you've planned to release, or maybe you've already released but aren't public yet? Or those types of things which are in the works, which are kind of new initiatives? Because I think there's also this massive thing where, especially with a home builder, where a lot of it is, you're still building homes, not much changes. It's like, how do you stay fresh and topical with, making sure that you do new things like, the Spanish channel, those types of things. So curious to hear if there are any other of those types of examples that you can maybe share with us.
Yeah. One thing that's really fun with AI tools is being able to showcase a community in a better way. So renderings. Renderings are a huge thing for new construction. And that's one thing that our land team has been really working on, is making renderings that are more lifelike and realistic. So people are visual by nature. It's a lot easier to sell a community that has the trees already in, and rather than just a piece of dirt. So we find that when you buy at the beginning of a community, it's going to be less expensive. When you get to the end, when it's already done and built and standing, for the most part, it's more expensive. So finding a way to showcase a community so a buyer can envision that is big. And our renderings have come so far. Like,
Really?
it looks
Wow.
so realistic. It's insane to see how much detail you can put into a product and have it look lifelike. So showcasing a community and having that in our video content has been a big push for us, of being able to take those renderings and have it overlay on the dirt to show a buyer, hey, this is what this community is going to look like. This is the vision. Get on board. So that's one that's been a big push, which obviously, again, slow moving, but it's fresh with those. And then I would say the fun thing about new construction is we have an amazing land team that's constantly looking for new areas. So every project is new. So we have, I mean, obviously there's different teams at Edge for a reason, but we have new product types that are coming out. We have new options that are constantly changing in our studio. So we're kind of evolving as we go anyway. But as far as marketing, I think the biggest one is pushing an AI chat so that someone could come to our website and search all of those variables that they want, but making sure that it's accurate and in line with our voice. So that's been one that's been on the back burner for a minute that we've been working through. But I'd say that's the one that I'm most excited about, is having that as a supplemental tool.
And for your, like, it'd be great to understand your buyer journey, because it's so different compared to, you know, buying Nike or a pair of trainers or whatever. Like, what is your typical buyer journey? And then within that, at which points do buyers most often fall off? And as a result, like, what are some of the things you've done which has actually helped you, like, retain people, like, further down the funnel?
That's a really good question. I would say our buyer journey is anywhere from a month to 18 months, usually. Depends on if someone's buying or not. And then as far as one channel that's really interesting for us that's been effective is geofencing. So drawing a digital fence around a location and then pushing ads to that person. Something that's effective for us is hitting people that are already looking for a home rather than convincing someone that they need to look for a home. So targeting competitors. So if someone's already in Saratoga Springs, a city in Utah, looking at competitors, we want to make sure that they know that we're also out there. So pushing ads to people that are already searching for homes is a big one for us. What's the buyer's journey? Yes, the buyer journey is very different for every single buyer. Sometimes they see us on a billboard first. Sometimes they see us on a digital ad. Sometimes their agent brings us. So it's very, very, very different as far as making sure people don't fall off. I mean, marketing's done a good job if we can get someone to the point of contract. However, even past that point, we have the issue of someone falling off and canceling. So we have a lot of canceled contracts. So that's more of a sales issue that we have, but I think making sure that buyers feel confident in their financing. And then, I mean, as far as making sure people don't fall off of that funnel, it's just having consistent touch points of, hey, did you I mean, people are shopping around, even people that are under contract. They're going to go look at other homes until their home is built. So if you're waiting for your house to be built for 6 months, you're going to go, well, I like this one better, or let's go look at it. So it's making sure people feel confident in their purchase decision, I think.
And during that kind of, like, is it a case of, you know, if I've spoken to you guys and I go, great, I have this home that I've decided on, is it then that kind of relationship, whether it's via email or whatever, gets completely handed over to sales and they no longer receive kind of renderings from you guys of example properties? Like, how does that work? Because I think more my interest is, like, it's a long process of completing to actually buy a house and then finally move in. And then when is the actual time where marketing kind of goes, obviously they'll keep seeing you on billboards and ads and stuff, but like, when does that switch over happen? Because companies, especially when they have longer sales cycles, do it at different times. And I think it has a pretty big impact on often the close rate.
I will say our customer experience team, which is kind of what you would consider a warranty team, is incredible. Especially over the last couple of years. It's changed and evolved. I think they've done a really good job. We have an app for our home buyers. I think that's probably the biggest difference between us and competitors.
How does that work?
We have a construction team. So you have builders that are working on your home and they send photos of your home and the progress of where it's at.
That's really nice.
So it's a really cool way for someone to have, like, a tangible, oh, I'm so excited. Like, someone's physically sending it to me. I don't need to ask. It's in the app. It's there. I know who I can talk to. I have a customer experience person that can come and help me with our warranty issue that I have after I've purchased, or even during the construction process of, like, hey, this doesn't look right. Or, I mean, obviously their salesperson is there for them. They can help facilitate any of those conversations. But I think the handoff kind of goes of, once someone gets to the point of talking to an agent, marketing is done. Like, we do not need, the sales agent should be your person. And if they are not reaching out to that sales agent, my opinion is that the sales agent did something wrong. Of that person should be, so they either don't like you for whatever reason and we need to assign them a different sales agent, or you did a poor job of making sure that buyer knew that they should be reaching out to you. If we have them reconverting on our website as a lead, you didn't do a very good job with that buyer.
That makes sense.
But once they hit contract, it's like, marketing's job is done. I consider it a success. Like, we got them to the decision. Your job is now to make sure that that buyer writes a contract that they feel comfortable with, and then you hand them off either to design or our customer service team, and they download the app and they have all of those touch points. And then marketing can step in once they've closed with, obviously, hey, leave us a review, or how is your experience going? anything we can do for you.
No, I love the app. It feels like kind of Snapchat, but with your construction worker. I think that's really good.
Yeah.
And then now kind of more some quickfire questions. To start with, like, what is something which you think most home builders or kind of home build marketers would disagree with you on that you strongly agree, kind of would argue for?
Photos matter of every single home. High quality photos of every single home matters. People care, whether it's framed or under, like, it matters. Photos matter, which I think people agree with, but I think some builders get a little lazy with the renderings. And so it's kind of they either don't want to invest in it or they think that it's going to sell on its own. But I think that photos matter, especially in today's day.
Yeah. And second question, who is a home builder nationally that you take inspiration from that you think is doing a really, really good job?
It's a great question. There's a couple that I really love, and they're all different, but I would say, I mean, D.R. Horton is one of the largest home builders that's out there, so it's really fun to just kind of compare yourself to like the big names. Toll Brothers, Lennar, they're really awesome. I mean, I don't have any beef with other home builders. I think they're awesome in their own way. That's the main thing. I know there's a local home builder here in Utah, CW Urban, that I think has sexy photography, and they're more downtown urban, but they have more downtown vibes to them. So it's just really fun to see the brands that these other builders have crafted and how they're all different in their own niche.
No, I love it. Yeah, it's always interesting hearing about what people think of their competitors, and often there are things which they could kind of magpie to make themselves better, which is good. And if you could be CMO of any company, obviously apart from yours, which would it be and why?
Dove. I love Dove's branding message. I think that, I mean, one of my favorite ads is they just push like feel good content that is all about women empowerment. And I mean, I think everyone remembers the ad campaign of like, how does a woman throw? So being able to be a part of just really cool storytelling that way, I think would be really fun.
And it's quite, it's interesting to say it's quite very different to home building. Tell us like what, like maybe how come you ended up in home building, and then that's quite a shift Dove wise. Like, what's the thought process behind that?
I feel like, I don't know, sometimes I'm a marketer. You want change, something new. I feel like if you're not doing something creative, you get stagnant and it's boring. So sometimes I think it would be fun to do a short-term consideration product of being able to be like, you know what, we pushed this campaign and we got a bunch of sales directly from it. Whereas with marketing, with home building, it's a little bit more challenging to be like, this ad converted. You can't track it all the time. So I think that's one thing that's really appealing about it. But also just there's limitations with financial institutions or home buying and home buyers acts and stuff like that. So I think it'd just be really fun to go. And also Dove is a sexy brand. I just love brands. It's one of the questions that I ask people when I interview them is, what's your favorite brand and why? And it says a lot about a person.
Interesting. Yeah.
So what's yours? That's can I ask you a question? Is that allowed?
Yeah, of course.
What's your favorite brand and why?
What's my favorite brand? It's so my head would probably go to like, I love surfing, so probably one of the surfing brands like Hurley, for example, or Rip Curl. Or it would be, I love classic cars or cars, so maybe something like there's the fact that like Lamborghini or Ferrari are so iconic, or maybe like an older, I mean Jaguar have butchered theirs, but Jaguar a bit before, probably something in that space. And then also I'm a massive fan of kind of the new era of like consumer fashion brands who have like for example like like Courtiers, like they're from the UK, but like I think they're a bit not as good now, but I think the kind of grassroots, there's one in New York called Fugazi, I don't know how you pronounce it, but like they've been really good at doing kind of grassroots like drops and from different vans in different venues, and then like scaling that on organic social really well, which I think has been really cool. So probably something like that. That would be my answer.
Do you have Liquid Death in New York?
Yes, we do have Liquid Day. Yeah, that is good. I mean, that is good. I think that, it's a clever concept. I think they do stuff well, and some of their stuff is nice. But then my head is also, I really like the Haribo adverts, those where it's like kids talking with the, with the adult voices. I think they're really, really good. I think I'm just a massive fan of what I did like really recently, which was good. Did you see Denny's put a tweet on X, which was around, so Jensen at NVIDIA, he wrote a piece basically pushing kind of open weight models because there was a backlash about people feeling like they're not capturing the value because it's all closed and private. And Denny's, their head of social, is really, really good at like moving at the speed of culture. And Jensen had worked as a busboy at Denny's before he founded NVIDIA. So they posted like a Venn diagram, and it was kind of NVIDIA, Denny's, and then in the middle was the importance of staying open. Because Denny's, you know what I mean? So stuff like that, and it went super, super viral. So I'm a massive fan of like those types of things which move at the speed of culture.
Yeah.
Because, and I think it is the opposite of, to do those types of things, you can't have loads of checks and hoops. Like you need to have like fast moving marketing, which like moves quickly, which I think is the best kind.
Yeah. That's really fun.
But final two questions. First is like, what is something that you wish I had asked you? And then second, what other marketers do you think would be great to speak to?
No, it's a question I think I wish you would have asked me. I don't even know if I have an answer to that question, my friend.
No
I would just love
worries.
to talk. I love brands.
Yeah.
That's the most fun part. I'm like, home building, great. What I
Yeah.
do, great. But the branding and the storytelling, I think, is my favorite. And then who do I think would be another great marketer to talk to? I think you need to talk to lenders. I think that would be really interesting. So home
Interesting.
builders,
Yeah.
fine, but we are tied to lenders. So I think their marketing is very interesting because they're very heavily restricted with what they can do. So I think that's
Yes.
also a very interesting dynamic, which is
No,
not
I
a
think that's
person
true.
or a name, but it's what comes to mind.
No, I think it's helpful. I also think there's definitely something in terms of like constraints result in more creativity. So there's definitely something there. Amazing. Well, Jessica, thank you so much for coming on the show. Really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.